2025 was a whirlwind. Between some big changes in my own life and the general state of the world, last year left me feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. But in the middle of the tornado, I was able to find moments of calm, the great song at the right time, a show that I was able to look forward to week after week, and most of all, games that let me step into another world for a while. So, in what's become an annual tradition, here are my favorite games of 2025, a shout out to the ones I didn't get to but can't wait to, and a look ahead to the 2026 games I'm most excited for. Hopefully, something in here catches your eye and gives you a new world to disappear into, even if it's just for a moment. Thanks for joining me, now let's get started. It felt like every month in 2025 had a potential Game of the Year contender. I couldn't play them all, but these are the ones that I'm still thinking about, the games I really wished I'd played. I'm not sure if 2026 will go down as one of the biggest years in gaming, but it's looking to be a year full of games tailor-made for me. And somehow, I'm saying it again, Grand Theft Auto 6 is releasing this year, hopefully for real this time. Here are the games I'm most looking forward to in 2026. Before we get to my favorite games of the year, I want to give a few honourable mentions, games I didn't get to spend as much time with as I wanted. Blueprints is the kind of game that had me taking notes and mapping out puzzle solutions like I did with Lorelei and the Laser Eyes the year before. I got pulled away from it for a bit, and by the time I came back I knew I'd need to restart to get my bearings again. Hopefully I can dive back into Mount Holly Estate sometime soon. I started Hades 2 on my way home for the holidays and it became my obsession over the Christmas break. I definitely feel like I've barely scratched the surface, but the game is absolutely phenomenal, making me feel rewarded even if the run is a failure. This one's going to take some time to finish, but it's been an absolute blast so far. When we look back on the history books of gaming, the day Hollow Knight Silksong launched and crashed every major gaming retailer is going to be one of those moments. And I'll be able to proudly say, I was there. I had an absolute blast with the game, but after about 25 hours, I got walled by a boss, you probably know the one, and at that time decided I didn't want to spend my limited gaming time being frustrated, so I tapped out. When I'm ready for the grind again, I'll make my way back to Farland. I finally started Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in early January, and I can already tell this is going to be a favourite of mine when all is said and done. More than pretty much any other game I've played, KCD 2 makes me feel like I'm actually living in Bohemia. And while trying to keep up with all the systems in order to keep your character alive may seem tedious, it makes me so invested and it feels so rewarding when I succeed. And lastly, Silent Hill F has been a thrilling horror experience so far, but between its thematically fitting but clunky gameplay and the enthralling but heavy narrative I haven't been able to push through to the end yet. It's a game that I have to be in the right headspace for. But now, let's move on to my top 10 games of 2025. I've never been much of an immersive sim guy, but Skin Deep completely won me over with its aesthetic and its sense of humor. It delivers those genuinely hilarious emergent moments, but it also oozes style and tells a story that I found myself way more invested in than I expected. And the opening sequence alone is worth the price of admission. The Nintendo Switch 2 launched in 2025, and it quickly became the fastest selling console of all time. Alongside that launch was a game that brought with it much controversy, and that game was Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Wait, did I say Welcome Tour? Sorry, I meant Mario Kart World may just be a top 3 Mario Kart game for me. The night I got my Switch 2, I loaded up the game and played through the Grand Prix in order from start to end, and in all honesty, I was nearly brought to tears by the end of Rainbow Road. I absolutely adore this game, so you could imagine my surprise when I looked on the internet and saw... Needless to say, the internet has been less than thrilled about Mario Kart World, and in some cases for valid reasons, like the price. Now, I'll admit, I don't play much online Mario Kart, so a lot of the problems that I see people complaining about in regards to the online component of the game didn't really bother me. Also, is the open world mode a little bit of a letdown? Sure, and is in desperate need of some quality of life upgrades too. But in my opinion, in the standard versus or Grand Prix experience, this is one of the best Mario Kart experiences there is, both from the new and returning courses, the ability to jump and wall ride, and most of all, the soundtrack. Mario Kart World may just have my favorite soundtrack in any video game I've ever played. Not only does it have over 300 music tracks, they are all stunningly high quality. I was shocked to see the game snubbed of even a Best Score and Music nomination at the Game Awards. Yes, less than half its soundtrack is brand new tracks, but that's still over 100 of them. I think that Mario Kart World is more than eligible. When we look at the rearrangements of old Mario music, not only from Mario Kart by the way, but from across the franchise, some of these songs are in styles near unrecognizable from their originals, and they work! Mario Kart World is an absolute blast of a game, and while it's definitely got a hefty price of admission, if you can pick it up on sale or buy it bundled with your Switch 2, it's definitely worth it for some kart racing fun. I've been a big Pokemon fan for pretty much my whole life, starting with Diamond and Pearl almost 20 years ago now, but in recent years I've been more cautiously optimistic than genuinely hyped for new entries in this series, so I'm happy to say that Pokemon Legends ZA was a pleasant surprise for me. I had a great time with the battle system, especially the Rogue Mega fights, even if I'd love to see it fleshed out more in the future. I also really enjoyed the story, and this might be my favourite cast of characters in the whole series. The side missions felt like charming anime episode B plots, and a few of them genuinely caught me off guard. My favourite was probably the Gengar one. The NPCs and Pokemon feel more expressive than ever before, but Lumiose City itself felt more like a maze than a place. I like the puzzle of traversing it, but there's surprisingly few buildings you can actually enter, and for a game that's set entirely in one city, I expected a bit more. My main disappointment in the game though was actually the Mega Evolutions. Without abilities, and with relatively few meaningful type changes, a lot of them feel more like stat buffs than game changers like they used to be, which is a bummer when Megas were such a major selling point here. Still, overall, I had a great time with Legends ZA. South of Midnight is such a special game. Its art direction is bold and instantly recognizable, and the soundtrack is phenomenal, not just as background music, but as part of the storytelling. Each chapter has a theme that evolves as you move through it, slowly layering and shifting until it blooms into a full song that hits like an emotional gut punch. The story is heartfelt, surprisingly dark, and not afraid to tackle heavy themes centered around loss and grief. The gameplay is probably the weakest link of the game itself, but playing on Grand Weaver difficulty actually helped a lot. It forced me to engage with the mechanics and utilize my full kit instead of just button mashing through encounters, and I ended up enjoying the combat much more by the end. More than anything though, the whole game feels like an incredibly passionate, detailed ode and love letter to the American South. The folklore, the atmosphere, the music, All of it comes together to represent a setting we don't see represented all that often in games, and definitely not at this scale. My playthrough took about 12 hours on the hardest difficulty, and especially if you have Game Pass, it's an easy recommendation. Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector is a phenomenal follow-up to one of my favorite games of recent years. It does a great job connecting its world with the first game without being a direct sequel, and it expands the world beyond Erlin's Eye without losing that intimate personal touch. The main narrative is a compelling slow burn that pulls you along, but the real star of the show, just like in the first game, is the companions, their conversations, their lives, and the smaller side stories that keep the game grounded. Mechanically, the game expands on its predecessor in all the right ways, from traveling between different locations to the contract and crew systems, all elevated by the gorgeous artwork and another incredible score from Amos Roddy. It exceeded my already lofty expectations, and I can't wait to play whatever Jump Over the Age makes next. When I first saw Dispatch at the Game Awards 2024, I wasn't sold on it. But after playing the demo released in May of last year, it got its hooks in me. Every Wednesday, over the 4 weeks it was releasing, some friends and I would hop on a Discord call and run through the 2 new episodes, and it was so fun to experience it together in real time. The performances are top tier, the characters are instantly memorable, and I love where the story went. And even though I know some people bounced off the gameplay, it really worked for me. I liked the tension of making calls under pressure, and by the end, the way the team improved felt really rewarding. If you want a great story you can binge solo or treat like a weekly show with friends, I can't recommend Dispatch enough. At number 4 is Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm a big 3D Mario fan, and Odyssey is one of my favorite games of all time, but man, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza might have topped it for me. DK's moveset makes exploring each vibrant area such a blast, whether I'm just platforming like normal or smashing through everything that's in my way. I had an absolute blast with this game the whole way through, and I was genuinely in tears by the end. The music was so impactful, and the bond between DK and Pauline was one of my favorite character relationships of the year. All the different Bonanza forms were game changers, and while they looked really goofy, they added so much variety to the gameplay. From start to end, it never got stale. I've still got so much left to do, but this is absolutely one of the greatest 3D platformers ever made. Lies of P was already a near perfect game for me, so my biggest worry going into its DLC, Overture, was that it would just feel like more of the same, or worse, a waste of time. Instead, this DLC feels like the version of the game's vision that was always hiding just beneath the surface. It's tighter, it's sharper, and it's even more confident. Story-wise, it tells an emotionally touching tale that both precedes and intertwines with the base game, in a way that made me see certain moments in the base game differently. It adds context without over-explaining, and it hits that same tone that made the original stick with me in the first place. On the gameplay side, the new weapons are ridiculously fun to experiment with, and the boss fights are exactly what I wanted. Tough, demanding spectacles, offering that unmatched feeling when you get in the groove and the fight finally clicks. The environments are also a highlight. Moody, beautiful, and just a joy to explore. If you loved Lies of P, Overture is a must-play, no question. And whatever Round 8 Studio does next, I'm there day one. Number 2 on my list needs no introduction. As soon as I laid eyes on Clair Obscur Expedition 33 at the Xbox Game Showcase 2024, I knew it would either be one of the best games I ever played or a complete disappointment. Spoilers, it's incredible. The passion of its developers overflows in every department, from the art, music, combat, and story, executed with a level of confidence where nothing feels wasted. It's a love letter to JRPGs, pulling from across the genre's history to create something truly special. The mix of turn-based strategy with parries and dodges, plus the amount of build freedom the game provides, makes every battle feel active, tense, and ridiculously satisfying to conquer. Spending time with this cast of phenomenally written and acted characters throughout the journey strengthened my connection to their mission and the personal baggage they all carry with them. I adore every single one of them. Then there's the gargantuan scale, variety, and incredible quality of the soundtrack, which blew me away. Every new location felt like it came with new music to obsess over. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is simply that good, and it's going to be talked about and adored for a long time. You've probably already played it, but if not, do yourself a favor. This year had so many incredible games, and I had so much less time than usual to play them. But among the games I did get to play, there was one that wasn't on my radar till close to launch, and then caught me completely off guard. My game of the year is The Alters. The Alters is one of the most unique games I have ever played. Part character drama, part survival, and part logistical nightmare. Built on a foundation of grounded sci-fi into something incredible. You play as Jan Dolsky, a space miner who creates alternative versions, or alters, of himself in order to survive on and escape a planet that is constantly trying to kill you. First of all, Alex Jordan is giving an absurd number of award-worthy performances here as Jan and his alters, and a lack of awards recognition he has been receiving is so upsetting to me. The fact that he plays so many versions of the same person while having them all feel distinct is so impressive and it works so well. What really impressed me is how well the game balances its systems with its story. The resource management and exploration can be punishing, and the game asks you to plan ahead, make trade-offs, and sometimes accept that you just cannot please everyone. But instead of feeling like busy work, all of that pressure feeds directly into the narrative, into the choices you make, the version of Yarn you become, and the relationships between you and your alters that you try to hold together while everything is falling apart. And then there are the alters themselves, the heart and soul of the game. Every new alter you bring into your crew arrives with his own needs and baggage and rough edges. They can be real assholes when they're in the mood, and the conflicts between them feel almost uncomfortably real. But by the end, I was attached to all of them. Watching how they'd clash, how they changed, and how they all find their place among the crew made the whole journey weirdly engaging, even when it was stressful. The Alters is the game I kept thinking about the most this year, long after I put the controller down. It's bold, it's stressful, it's funny at times, and surprisingly tender in others, and it stuck with me. And that's why it's my game of the year. And that's my best of 2025. If you played any of these games, I'd love to hear what you thought. And if you didn't, I hope I put something new on your radar. Thanks so much for watching, take care of yourself, and here's to a better and brighter 2026.